Where would you like to go? How about right here? That looks good enough to eat. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. I am back again today, my friends, with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is going to be on Secret Recipe from SnowBoardGames, and this is coming to Kickstarter on September 17th. So, as per usual with my preview videos, I am going to kind of do a little overview of the game, kind of tell you how the game plays, all that good stuff, and then help you figure out whether or not this game is the right fit for you. So just a few things to note. This is a prototype, so as per usual with prototypes, everything is subject to change. However, the rules are pretty much final, so they might not change a little bit, but you just never know. So just know that this is a prototype, and this game, as I mentioned, is coming from SnowBoardGames, who very kindly sponsored this video. They have already run one successful Kickstarter in the past called Hike, a card drafting game with huskies, and we all know I freaking love huskies, and I also love desserts. So without further ado, let's dive in to Secret Recipe. Alrighty, let's dive into it. Grandma, the best baker in town, has decided to retire and pass her book of recipes on, which she has carefully selected and perfected over many years. And you want it, but you're not the only one. Grandma has decided to put you all to the test, sending out letters containing recipes to all those interested. But wait, it seems the letters are only containing parts of the recipes. They're incomplete. Can you get the missing information from your friends and family through trading some of your information? Get ready to decipher clues and seal packs to see who will impress Grandma the most and become the worthy successor of her recipe book. At the start of the game, each player will receive 1 or 2 pieces of the recipe with 4 hidden ingredients that only they know. The goal of the game is to impress Grandma by scoring the most victory points, because we all know if there's one thing grandmothers love, it's victory points. Mine does, for sure. You'll do this by discovering other people's ingredients and by communicating your ingredients so others can figure them out. But what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let me give you an overview of how the game actually plays. Okay? This is going to be the first time I'm doing a preview with an overhead camera, so welcome to the overhead camera. I just thought it might be easier to show you things as I explain them. So let's just take a closer look at how the game plays. Secret Recipe is played over a series of turns, and during a standard turn, the active player can get 2 actions. They can discard any one face-up pantry ingredients and replenish it with new ingredient from the ingredients bag. This is an optional action. The other action is to give a clue and peek at the corresponding recipe ingredient on the recipe shelf, and this is a mandatory action. So I'm going to talk about these in closer detail, and this is probably a good time to talk about actually giving clues. First, it will be helpful to show you a few things, starting with the pantry. This is the main board here in front of me. We have the pantry on this side. Score track is going to be on this side, which you'll see everybody has a little chef token hat. We have some other tokens which we'll get to eventually, but we're going to focus on the pantry. So here you have recipe shelves kind of on the outside. That's these tokens here. And here in the center you have pantry shelves, okay? So these are the available spaces to put clue markers. And you're like, but there's nothing there to show me what it is. Well, just use your imagination, okay? So we are going to talk about the clue markers as well. There are 3 types of clue markers. We have the X, the check, and the greater than / less than symbol, okay? So we have those 3. And then we have 2 types of clue tokens. It is just on one little token, but one of them is about the ingredient type, and the other one is about weight, ingredient weight, okay? Every player in front of them is also going to have their own little recipe board. Now, at the beginning of the game, you are going to be given these 4 ingredients. You yourself can look at them. Keep them secret though, so you can flip them over, look at them, but once again, be very secretive. Your family is very sneaky and they will try and steal the ingredients off of you, basically. So you'll have this, you'll have a white erase marker, you will have a discussion card, which we'll get to later, and some other tokens. And then you will also have one of these bad boys. And this is how you are going to be figuring everything out. This is a deduction style game. You're going to be giving clues. People are going to be giving you clues. You're going to be making guesses. Everything is going to be kept track on your personal board, which you will keep secret from everybody else because once again, your family's nosy and they will try to steal all of your information, which you don't want. Players will give clues focusing on one ingredient in their player recipe, and they can do that based on, like I said, either ingredient type or weight. So what you're going to do is on your turn when you're giving a clue, you're going to take this token and you are going to put it next to one of your secret ingredients. So let's just say I do this and I am going to put ingredient type. So I could have also done weight, but we're going to go for type. Keep in mind the ingredient must be hidden. So throughout the game, these ingredients are going to become revealed. So obviously you can't give a clue for something that's been revealed. That would just be silly. So it has to be a hidden ingredient. And if you have no hidden ingredients, there is a mechanic where you get to ask, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I am giving a clue about this one here. This is the active player basket and it will come with these things. So I'm going to give a clue about this secret ingredient. Now I am going to look at the board here. Now I'm going to choose one of the 3 tokens and I'm going to put it in either the column or the row where I want to be giving my clue, where I have that ingredient, something similar, okay? So basically I am saying I'm giving a clue about this ingredient here. The check mark is saying that whatever I have here appears in this column. Okay, so then everybody knows that here I either have a mint, a strawberry, or I think that's a macadamia nut. Some kind of a nut, okay? So people can then start to deduce what I actually have in my recipe board based on this clue that I have given. If you're wondering how the weights work, you'll see listed both on the ingredients as well as here on your recipe board that it will give you a weight class. So the mint and the grapes are 1 weight. The nuts and the strawberries are 2. The, eggs are 3, and so on. I could have done weight, and I could have said, I have something in here that weighs the same amount as something in here, or less or more than, okay? So that's basically how you are going to be giving clues. And just remember that you want to give good clues because communicating your clues properly and having people guess them is actually going to get you points as well. So this isn't one of those like deduction games where you're really trying to like hide all of your information. You really more so want to be the one that's quicker to guess everything, but you also want people to be able to guess what you have because that's also going to score you more points. And as we remember, grandmothers love victory points, so we want to make sure that we're doing that. Then after you give a clue, you get to take a little sneaky peek at the hidden recipe ingredient next to your clue marker that you placed. So in this case, I would get to look at this one. What a scandal. Why is that important? Everybody at the beginning of the game is getting 4 tokens. Then the rest of those tokens are going to be placed around here on the recipe board. So what that tells you is that, well, I'll just show you. I took a sneaky peek at this little egg. So that means that there is 1 less egg out here because all of the tokens are essentially used in a 4-player game as an example. Right now I'm obviously set up for a 4-player game. It does play 2 to 4 players. At the beginning of the game when I looked at all of my ingredients, I crossed them out at the top of here because this is going to help me deduce what other people have. So right now I can see, okay, that's an egg. Let's cross out an egg. Now there's still a possibility of there being 3 other eggs and potentially some are here and potentially some are with the other players, but I know that there's not 4. So that's one little thing that I can deduce, I guess, essentially. At the beginning, I also marked kind of where all of mine were, and as you start to figure out what people have, you can keep track of all of that on here. But if you see something here, then you can mark that off. Now, what you're going to do after that is you'll put a fingerprint token on that. And that is just to help you remember that you've already looked at this one, so you might not want to go there again because you've already seen it, you already know that information. Okay, so like I've already mentioned, this is a deduction game. So leaps in logic are probably going to happen, which is another reason why it's so important to keep track of everything on here and don't circle something unless you're very positive. I mean, you do what you want, play how you want, but I know for me, I do be making leaps in logic and then I'll get all confused. Like I mentioned before, if you have no hidden ingredients left, so let's just say everybody knew all my stuff. So instead of giving a clue, I can ask a question by using the clue markers on another player's hidden ingredient. Maybe I wanted to know something about the pink player and I want to know about this ingredient. So that's kind of how the asking phase happens, but once again, you can only do that if all of your ingredients are face up. After a player takes their actions, there's then a discussion phase, which is optional. So you don't have to do this, but you can choose to. But what the discussion phase is, it's a chance to uncover other people's ingredients, a chance to learn more information, and anyone that would like to participate in the discussion will mark their discussion cards, which are these cards right here, and then you are going to mark your choices on those cards and then they're going to be revealed simultaneously. So when you're doing this, you're actually going to have 2 options. If you're unsure, but you have a theory about an ingredient, you can say that you think you know it. And this can only be done 4 times in the game, and you have 4 think tokens to show that. So that's one option that you can do during the discussion, and that is basically you're saying, I think I know what this ingredient is. If I wanted to use a think, I would put pink and there, here, and I think that I know what this one is. And then I'm going to circle what I think it is. So I think that this is strawberries. If you're doing a think and you end up being correct, that is going to score you 1 victory point. If you're incorrect, nothing happens. There's really no risk other than losing those tokens, basically. Or the other thing you can do, if you are sure or you're just kind of feeling lucky, you can declare that you know the ingredient and collect it from the pantry if you're right, which is going to score you either 2 victory points if multiple people get it right, or 4 if you're the only one. But if you're wrong, you lose 1 point. So let's just continue with this example. I'm going to say, I know what this is in Pink's recipe card. And so you're going to look here at where all of these recipes are, and I am going to say, I'm positive that it's this. So once everybody has kind of done their thing and whatever, if they decided to participate in the discussion, everybody is going to reveal simultaneously. Then you are going to resolve starting with the think and placing think tokens, and then you're going to do the collect. So let's just say it was just the two of us and we revealed this. So we're going to start with the think. Now Pink thinks that Blue, she thinks she knows what's going on here. So they're going to take one of their pink think tokens and place it on the ingredient that they think it is, which in this case was nuts. Then we're going to do the collect. So now I think, or I know for sure, obviously, that Pink in this one has strawberries, okay, in this spot here on the board. That's what I think is happening, okay? That's what I know is happening. I know it to be true. Now what's going to happen is Pink will have to let us know if I was correct. So if I was correct and this ingredient is strawberries, they would have to reveal that ingredient. In this case, I wasn't right. And so they would say, nope, you are not right, okay? Bummer. So I'm actually going to lose a victory point for that. Now the think is going to get revealed once this ingredient gets revealed later. And so they were wrong. Nothing is going to happen. But let's just say that that was right. Whenever this token gets revealed, they will gain a victory point. If this had been correct, they would have had to reveal it and saying, yep, you were correct. Then the person that guessed it, if they were the only one, they will get 4 victory points. If there were multiple people, they would each get 2 victory points, okay? So if this had been correct, because Pink was so good at communicating that they had strawberries there, they are also going to get a benefit because they communicated so well, and this part is actually done through point tokens. So these are going to get scored at the end of the game. So basically, Pink would then get to take the top 3 point tokens, and then they would get to choose which one they want. So there's 2 different kinds that you can get. These 2 are just straight up points, which you're going to keep face down in front of you and reveal at the end of the game to move your point token up. This one, on the other hand, is an option. You can either save it and get 1 point at the end of the game, or you can trade it in to take a sneaky peek at 2 of the recipe tiles kind of out on the board. So you can do that instead. So you pick one and you will discard the others. So the last thing that I want to show you is this tea break. There's a little tea break tokens here. So when, let's just say we're all doing great, when you pass from the 5 points to the 6 points on the score track, you will take a tea break token. Then you can use that tea break token at the end of the turn, and you will have the opportunity to ask one player a question. And that question is, do you have this type of ingredient in your recipe? You're going to do this by taking that discussion card, and you are going to pass it to the player that you're asking. So in this instance, I might want to know from Blue, do you have mint? You're not going to let anybody else see this though. You're going to secretly pass it to them. They are going to secretly look at it. And then if they do have the circled ingredient, they're simply going to put a check mark. Or if they don't, we'll put next. And then they'll secretly pass it back. Just another way to gain some more information. Now, if you do this, the discussion phase is skipped. So that won't happen. This is just kind of like a little special thing that you can do. But you do have another option with your tea break token, and that option is going to be to change pantry ingredients. So you need to declare that you want to use it, and you could do this at any point on your turn or whenever. Players are going to have a chance to place out their markers, like their actual markers, to block off rows or columns that they don't want touched. And then all the other pantry ingredients are going to be discarded and then replaced from the ingredient bag. So as an example, as a blue player, I might be like, I want you to keep those. Let's just say it's the pink player that's, it's the green player that's going to be using. Pink player might say, well, I don't want you to touch these. The red player might be like, yeah, no, I'm good with the rest of that. So then these 4 ingredients will go back into the bag. You'll shuffle some stuff around, and then you will place out 4 new ingredients. Okay, and then everybody will take their markers back. The game end is going to be triggered when only one player has any hidden ingredients left. So in this instance, the game end would be triggered because only the blue player still has hidden ingredients. Okay. Everyone but the person who triggered the end of game will get 1 more turn, and then you're going to count up your points, and the player with the most victory points wins. And don't forget that you'll also reveal your point tokens at the end, any that you've collected, and you'll add those to your score track. That's a general overview of how the game works. Obviously, there's more in depth that I could go, but in a nutshell, this is a deduction game where you have information that you're trying to communicate to other people. They have information that they are trying to communicate to you. You can gather information by taking sneaky peeks at the recipe ingredients that are on the recipe shelves, and you are using the pantry shelves to give clues to other players to help them determine what you have. And then you're also going to be able to discuss and get some points through discussion by making guesses on things that you think are right or things that you know are right for sure. And everything is going to be tracked right on here. So, who is this game for? I know that's what you're all here to ask. As I mentioned, this is a deduction style game, so it's definitely for fans of that mechanic. If you enjoy games like Hooky, this would be right up your alley. Unlike some other deduction games, you both want to guess what everyone else has, but you also want to help others figure out what you have, because you're going to gain points for being a good communicator. And some of those points in the point stack, you know, you could get an extra 2, 3, or you can look at a recipe, which is going to give you more information. So you also want to communicate well, because one of the really interesting things about being able to communicate and help people guess your points is at the end of the game, when you start to reveal those secret points, you could zip by somebody pretty quickly, and they might not know what you got going on. So you got lots of your secret family stuff going on. Basically, you want to be faster than everybody else at guessing things, and you want to score the most points. Okay. This involves a lot of player interaction. There's going to be a lot of discussion kind of stuff happening. It also is going to take a lot of attention to detail, and there is definitely some brain burniness in this game. You might need to take pauses, because some people might need to be like, just wait, I need to just like think and write this out, and I thought for sure you had this ingredient and what's going on. And so you may need to take some pauses to let people do that, as you do in some other deduction games, because the board can get very messy. You also need to be very wary about making the dreaded leap in logic, which I am famously known for very early on in the game, which I should not do, but it'll get you every time. So just be mindful of that, and try, they do suggest in the rule book, like, try not to circle something and make a final, like, this is definitely it, unless you're 100% sure. It's a white erase board, so it's really easy to kind of like, you know, oh shoot, I thought it was this, but it's not that, so I shouldn't have circled it. So you can make corrections very easily instead of it being pen and paper. If you enjoy a good bakery theme and beautiful artwork, definitely check this out. I think it's a really interesting theme, like Grandma's Secret Recipe, which is something that we all want. Yeah, and it's not like the rule set's not overly complicated. Where the complicatedness comes in is the deduction, which you're going to find with most deduction style games because you're just trying to solve a big puzzle. So if you like puzzles, this could be a good game for you. But that is a little bit about Secret Recipe from SnowBoardGames. Once again, just a shout out to them for sponsoring this video. Kickstarter is going to be live on September 17th, and I am going to have all of the information. Everything that you need to know is going to be in the description below. So if it sounds like something you might be interested in, definitely go and check it out. And as per usual, make sure that you read reviews, watch videos, do all of the things to make your informed buying decisions, because that's what we love to do around here. But that is everything that I have for you today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games, remember this one we're going to Kickstarter. Other board games like SnowBoardGames' other game, Hike, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I hope to see you again soon. And now I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Happy baking with your grandmother's secret recipes. Whoa. Does this chair go any higher? It does not. I just need to sit tall. Sit very tall. I need to be very tall. Much taller than normal. So, whoops. So, I dropped my box. I'll just show you all what I have. Whoopies. Oh, geez. Whoops. Whoops.